He's been investigating us. He calls it his project. Larry may say it's about us, but trust me, it's about him.
Everything has started shifting. The boundaries are blurring. I'm looking for something inside that I can't name or see, but I know is there.
Hi there. I'd like to focus on Larry Sultan's defining photo book, Pictures from Home. It was published in 1992, and Martin Parr described it as one of the most significant American photo books of the 1990s. His work hovers between documentary and the posed or staged image. He believed that one can discover honesty through observed moments, but that there's also another type of honesty that can be revealed through staged images. Curator David Campany described his book as a memoir, a scrapbook, a cry of pain, and an album of bitterly affectionate photographs. Even though the publication is now 3 decades old, the images still have relevance, and they continue to influence photographers like Alec Soth and Richard Billingham. After his death in 2009, his 9-year period of intense interaction with his parents was adapted into a commercially successful Broadway play. On one trip visiting his parents at home in the San Fernando Valley in LA, he began watching some of the 8mm movies that his father had made during his youth. This got him thinking about creating a sequel to this earlier documentation of their lives by creating a new narrative as seen by his now older self. The project became in part a rebellion against the ideals of his parents' generation, but it became so much more. For him, the hardest part of the work was dealing with the question of whether or not he was betraying his parents as he projected them as symbols of the failed American dream.
So I began to study these home movies, looking for myself, looking for the evidence of my life, and realized I could reshape them like a good dream. I could reinsert myself into family life.
His project was set against the backdrop of the Reagan era in the US, and it feels like a perfect time capsule of that period. He made the photographs between 1983 and 1992. Outwardly, the images depict a middle-class life that is conservative, affluent, and successful. On some levels, his parents appear to be living through the final chapter of their own personal version of the American dream. They'd moved to a desert community near Palm Springs. But Solomon came from a very different generation. He was a product of the rebellious 60s and a photography education from the San Francisco Art Institute. He wasn't following the same version of the dream. He was particularly annoyed that Reagan's party was integrating the institution of family into their mythology. And he said he was willing to use his own family in order to prove a point.
And I felt the family is one of the most complicated, unnerving institutions. And yet it's the last institution anyone, I think, believes in. Most of us believe in. We don't believe in, certainly, the government. The family still has a pull. So it's a really interesting place. And my family life was complicated. My father was very a strong character. He was an orphan, came up out of the lower classes. But he was pissed that I was an artist, and he always gave me a hard time, called me a loser. The wound is deeply in the family.
With time, Sultan realized that he had taken on what he described as an impossible project, and its meaning was becoming scattered and baffling. Every few months he would visit his parents, armed with bags of film and new ideas, But once he was with them, his concepts felt strained or foolish. And when he left, most of the film was unexposed. And he would carry with him a feeling of desperation. Although initially the project had a more sociological motivation, it evolved into a deeply emotional exploration as well as an urgent attempt to stop time. He wrote, "I want my parents to live forever." In his book, Sultan mixes his posed images with words and stills from his father's home movies. The blend of past and present, as well as the generational tension, produces a complex Oedipal interplay. He separates the old and new pictures really nicely by printing the archival images on matte textured stock so they look and feel different. By intertwining these different elements, he was updating the family's personal and cultural history. There's a sadness that permeates this work, because the images reveal the distance between the perception of someone's life and the realities of existence. They also expose a son's imperfect adoration of his parents and their world. One also comes to realize that the people portrayed, including the photographer, are no more. The project was a vehicle for Sultan to explore his own childhood, his relationship with his father, and the disappointment of suburban life. He begins the book with these symbolic film stills of him jumping through a hoop. Mowing the lawn was also one of the biggest sources of family conflict. Sultan described himself as being a lazy, fat-ass dreamer kid. He later began to see the desire for a perfectly manicured lawn as a symbol for the pursuit of the suburban utopian dream. Throughout his early life, Larry was confronted with his father's old-school macho persona. You can hear in this interaction that Sultan's father is impatient with the process, and he's also uncomfortable with his son holding all of the power as they make pictures. They're talking about this picture of his father sitting on the bed, dressed in his business suit. Even though at the time the older man might not have quite understood the messaging behind the photograph, he senses that his son has an agenda. The picture is certainly sad because it shows a formerly powerful corporate man losing his sense of purpose.
There's that asshole with his mic again. If he doesn't have a mic, he has a goddamn camera. You've been taking pictures now, what, for 3 years? Doing the same shit all the time? And you're not happy with what you're taking, right? How come you never thought about the fact that you're taking pictures with an expressionless individual who's not projecting anything?
No, that's not true, because don't you remember the pictures where I said, okay, now I want you to project anger?
Hey, wait a minute. This is what you said for me to do, but normally you would say, don't smile. Zap. An expressionless look on one's face. One me on the bed. To me, that was an expressionless picture. You didn't capture the imagination at all.
Sultan has stepped very close to, or has tipped over a line, into something that feels cruel. He's manipulating the situation in order to emphasize his father's lack of status and power. But there's still an element of empathy which saves the picture from being brutal. In this recording, you can hear Sultan and his father as they discuss the making of this photograph. But they're also negotiating terms.
You know, I'm wasting an awful lot of time with you. You didn't do that much reading.
I did 2.5 hours of work.
Okay, I've given you 2.5 hours.
We started at 2 o'clock. Listen, I gotta photograph you still.
You gotta be out of your fucking mind.
Sultan was required to do a certain amount of weeding before his father would pose for him. So he's not prepared to relinquish all the power to his son. There was classic generational tension between them, Sultan seeking affirmation, and the older man confused by the choices that his son has made, including his decision to pursue a career within the art world. The older man had been a traveling salesman for Chic Razor, and he had worked his way up to vice president of the company. But just like an aging sportsman, he was retired. He was forced to come to terms with his new private identity that could no longer be propped up by his corporate status. Sultan's mother went out and got her real estate license and became a successful businesswoman, although she continued to maintain most of her housewife roles. Sultan, at another stage, elaborated about how his father had come to terms with the picture of him sitting on the bed, wearing his suit.
And he said, look, I'm really happy to help you with this work, but I want you to know that I already know that that's you sitting on the bed, that this is a self-portrait. I know who I am, you know who you are, your values are part of this work, but let's just make it very explicit. That's you sitting on the bed.
When you think about the practical aspects of creating this work, you realize that Sultan had to remain a critical observer while allowing the emotional entanglement to emerge, and he was an integral part of this entanglement. He had to hold an uncertain line between voyeurism and empathy. He was mostly the third person in the family triangle, an outsider to the married couple. If he had been too critical in his picture-taking, the essay would have seemed cold and harsh. If too sentimental, then the pictures would have been cliched and one-dimensional. The images of his parents portray their familiarity and intimacy, but also acknowledge the distance between them. He sometimes manages to capture both of these within one image. The pictures are quiet and still, so this allows us to take in all of the details within the shot. The couple is sitting on a bed and their aging bodies are somewhat exposed. There's a closeness and familiarity as they talk in their carefully designed bedroom. The cream yellow wallpaper matches the bedspread, the chairs, and the light covers. In the shot, they haven't got dressed yet, so they seem vulnerable. He's caught them before they are fully prepared to present themselves to the world. In this picture, Sultan emphasizes the distance and barriers that have formed during their time together. Compromises have been made and lines have been drawn, so there's an acceptance that even though they are a unit, there will always be a level of isolation. It's through his carefully choreographed poses that we as viewers are reminded that we are looking at a highly constructed narrative. They are playing out private as well as societal roles as they present themselves to the world. The photographs within this book capture the small moments of human existence, those that can be easily forgotten within a busy day. As we as viewers become aware of memory and the passing of time, we understand that we are being shown a truth, but we aren't sure whose truth it is.
To me, the truth is about performance, how we perform, how we project. And it can be, the truth can be staged and it can be found. I don't think there's such a division between the two. But it's still a kind of intimate image, a private image. And then you make that public. Well, there's a kind of betrayal that happens. Something's torn when you go from private to public. A trust. I felt terrible about this throughout the project. I felt like I had a secret, and I felt I was betraying my parents. And so the way I got around this was to actually have them, in a sense, be collaborators.
The critical success of this project emphasizes the assertion that one doesn't have to look far from home to find interesting story ideas. Most photographers feel that they have to find the most exciting, exotic stories in order to interest viewers. And that's true on a superficial level. It's always tantalizing to be shown something new, but that's usually where our interest ends. When a photographer's interrogation touches something familiar within us, we are forced to reevaluate our assumptions, and this leads to a far more complicated and enduring engagement. Sultan has produced a number of other bodies of work, so I'll run a few images that stood out for me. But thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that work. See you next time.